Kurt Vonnegut is one of the greatest American novelists of the 20th century. He brought a light to science fiction novels that was never there before, in importance and meaning rather than just pages of childish fiction and controversial topics, as science fiction was considered before him. Born on November 11, 1922 in Indianapolis, Indiana, his father was a very wealthy architect and his mother was the daughter of a very wealthy brewer. When the Great Depression hit, however, both businesses depleted and Kurt's family life was destroyed. His father sold their home and his mother became addicted to alcohol and prescription medications. This depressing childhood reflected in Kurt's lifelong pessimistic attitude in interviews and novels. For example, here is Kurt's view on the human race as expressed jokingly in an interview.
I think, our own intelligence tells us we are perfectly awful animals and are tearing the place apart and should get the hell out of here. And says we are a disease. We are obviously a disease. I mean, this would be the case after 2 world wars, the Holocaust, Nagasaki, the Roman Games, all the other bad stuff that we've done. No, but anyway, we are obviously a disease. This is this poster I've made. And like syphilis with a conscience, we should stop reproducing.
Kurt attended Cornell University as a chemistry major for 2 years, but dropped out with the claim that he was a lousy student. At the age of 20, Kurt joined the U.S. Army and was shipped off to Europe to fight in the Battle of the Bulge. He, along with many others, was captured and taken as a prisoner of war in Dresden, Germany. He was stationed in Dresden, Germany during the Allied bombing of the city, leaving the entire city to rubble. He survived because he was working in an underground factory making vitamins for the Germans. A similar story to the Twilight Zone's Time at Last. When he climbed out of this factory called Slaughterhouse 5, he saw only destruction everywhere. War became a recurring theme for Vonnegut as he returned from the war, married his high school girlfriend, and raised 6 kids, 3 of them adopted. Later on, Vonnegut turned his attention to novels. He published the sci-fi epic The Sirens of Titan, the spy novel Mother Night, a satire of religion in Cat's Cradle, a critique of economic injustice in God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater, and in 1969, his Dresden novel and his most popular, Slaughterhouse 5. In Slaughterhouse 5, the protagonist, Billy Pilgrim, is captured in the Battle of the Bulge and is stored in an underground factory, exactly like Vonnegut. However, Vonnegut delves into human nature by letting his character travel through time and talk to different people. Slaughterhouse 5 is considered one of Kurt's greatest novels. Kurt mastered a peculiar type of humor known as gallows humor, making his audience laugh despite the horrors he described. Vonnegut had already developed a cult following of his college students, but he broke through to a mass audience with Slaughterhouse 5 and the excellent film version of the novel that soon followed. By the early 1970s, Vonnegut was one of the most famous living writers on Earth. Vonnegut's 2 novels in the middle 1970s, Breakfast of Champions and Slapstick, helped him deal with family disintegration, another recurring theme in Vonnegut's life. This happened one with his parents, also with his trouble and divorce with his own wife, and one of his children succumbing to a bipolar disorder and leaving him. Through the next 2 decades, Vonnegut acted as a powerful spokesman for the preservation of our constitutional freedoms, for nuclear arms control, and the protection of the environment. As this new century began, Vonnegut continued to try to be, as he said, a responsible elder in our society, speaking out against the militarization of the country after the terrorist attacks of 2001. In his last novel, Timequake, Vonnegut powerfully expressed his sense that corporate greed, overpopulation, and war would win out over simple humanity. As he ruefully apologized to those who would come after him, and right before his death in New York, he spoke, "We could have saved the world, but we were just too lazy."